Hello, this is Helena and welcome to the Crocoblock channel. In this video, I will cover two powerful features that can take your WordPress forms to the next level. First, how to validate a form using existing data from your website. And second, how to automatically include additional related data from your database after the form is submitted, for example, when sending an email or saving the submission. Or in simple terms, if you've ever built a form and thought, wait, how do I stop people from entering the same value twice? Like the same email or company name? This video is for you. You can also use it to validate a form based on values already stored on your website, even if they are not directly related to the fields a user fills out. For example, you can block the form submission based on the user's purchase history, number of products in stock, on sale, time period, and so on. So let's get down to it. You will need two Crocoblock plugins, JetFormBuilder, JetEngine, and the free custom JetEngine query action add-on for JetFormBuilder. The link will be in the description. To install the add-on from GitHub, open the link, click on the code, then select local, and finally download as a zip file. Then install it as a normal plugin. After the installation, you will see that JetFormBuilder's forms have two more post-submit actions: check query result and get values from query. Validating form submissions using website data. In this section, I will cover some use cases for the check query result action, the one that validates form submissions based on the data already stored on your website and the conditions specified in a custom query. Case number 1, validate user input against existing website data. Imagine you have an event registration form and you don't want people to submit it twice, specifically using the same email address. And pay attention, I'm not talking about the standard user registration process. Both WordPress core and JetFormBuilder's user registration form already include built-in validation to prevent duplicate accounts. What I'm referring to is a different scenario, when someone submits an email through a form and that data is stored in a custom field of a default to custom post type or a JetEngine's custom content type. For this example, I've already created a custom content type or CCT, a special JetEngine content type designed for better performance and perfect for storing data that doesn't need much front-end representation. Here I have an event submissions CCT with 3 fields: name, email, and company name. What I want to achieve is straightforward. If someone attempts to register using an email address that already exists in the database, the form should display an error message. The difference between this case and advanced validation by JetFormBuilder is that advanced validation checks values that have already been entered either into one of the fields of the current form or exist in the meta fields of the current page. What I'm showing here is different. It validates the email against values that have nothing to do with the current form or page. These values simply exist somewhere in your database. So I've already set up a CCT for event registrations. Next, let's create a form where users can enter their registration information. You can either create it from scratch or just press this Create New Form button, and the form with the corresponding fields and the Insert Update Custom Content Type action will be created automatically with the fields already mapped in the settings. I will add the new action here, check query result, provided by the custom add-on we've installed. Pay attention that it must be placed before the Insert Update Custom Content Type action to validate data first, and based on the result, the data will be added or not to this CCT. Here you can see a toggle to throw error if the query has results and the drop-down to choose the query. This means that I should first create a query, and if it returns some results, the form will display an error. Okay, I want to validate the form by checking whether the email from this email field already exists in the records. So I will copy the email field name and let's create a query. Go to JetEngine, Query Builder, Add New. Give it a name. Query type is Custom Content Type Query. From Content Type, Event Submissions, because I will compare the entered email with emails stored in this content type. Then in the Query section, click Add New, and there is the fun part, to add particular conditions. Field, email, equal. In the value field, click the database icon to use dynamic macros and find the JetFormBuilder check query form field value. Field name, I will paste the field name for the email I've copied from my form. This is it. Save the query. Of course, you can add more conditions, group them, and use relations, add or. It's up to you and depends on your particular case and goals. Let's get back to the form, refresh the page, and open the Check Query Result section. Now the query we've just created has appeared in the drop-down. So I will select it and write an error message and of course activate the toggle to display an error if the query conditions are met. Let's test the form. You can test it just by opening the preview mode. I have a few submissions in my event submission CCT and I will copy one of the email addresses from there for testing. When I insert this email address and click Submit, I can see the error message. But if I type a new email address, not being submitted yet, the form is sent successfully. Limit submissions by author and date. Now let's look at another example. It's quite similar, but has more conditions. Let's say users on this website can publish their own post through the front-end form, but only once within a certain period. Keep in mind they are not registered users. They just enter their name in a field called author's name, which is saved as a meta field inside a dedicated custom post type called Stories by Customers. I will add a new JetFormBuilder form for inserting such posts with name, email, and post content field, and the submit button, of course. Then add the insert update post action and map the fields with the corresponding fields of the Stories by Customers post type. For name, choose post meta and copy-paste the field name from the CPT. For email, do the same with the email field. Post content will go to the post content object field. But as you remember, in this example, not everyone should be allowed to submit the post. I want each user to be able to submit only one post within a certain period. This kind of limitation can be really useful for seasonal campaigns, contests, or simply when you need to control how often users can send their entries. For this particular example, I want to let people submit only if they haven't already published a post before October 2025. So, if the system finds a post where the author's name matches the name they just entered, and that post was created before October 2025, the form will show an error and stop submission. Let's create a query that has these conditions. Go to JetEngine, Query Builder, Add New, give it a name, Authors. Query type is Post Query. Post type Stories by Customers. status published. In the Meta Query tab, add a new clause where a field is the field for the author's name. I took it from the CPT meta field name, author's name. Equal JetFormBuilder check query form field value and field name, name, taken from my form. You can click Add New Clause and validate by email as well using the same logic, and don't forget to choose the right relation logic, and or all. But in my case, the other important condition is the publishing date. Open the Date Query tab, and here you can specify the database conditions, either by typing them or using macros, such as today or current date. I will use before and type the date in the format written in the hint. October 1st, 2025. Save the query, and if both conditions are true, the form validation will fail. Otherwise, the form goes through. Let's test it. Get back to the form, place the check query result action before the insert update post action, and choose the query we've just created. Type the error message and save the form. Now to test how it works, I will need an author's name with a post submitted before October 2025. I've added a few records here, and one of them has a publishing date in February. I'm copying the author's name and will insert it in the form to test it. Perfect, it returns an error. Let's see how it will react to the existing post authors who published after October 1st. The form was submitted successfully? Or what if I type a totally new name? Success as well, exactly what I wanted. That's it, a simple way to limit submissions from the same author within a specific time range without needing any user account. Form validation connected to external conditions, the WooCommerce case. In the previous examples, I compared the user's input with data stored in a specific meta field. But that's not the limit. Now I'll show you a use case where the form will not be submitted regardless of what the user enters, but rather based on the existing data or conditions on the website. For instance, it could depend on the number of products in a WooCommerce cart, the number of bookings already made, or any other query result. In other words, the validation logic reacts not to the field values itself, but to the state of the data in your website's database. The use case I will cover in a moment is perfect for sales and catalog websites where users can request a special price through an inquiry. They add the items they are interested in to the cart and then send an inquiry form. However, in my example, if there are more than 5 unique products in the cart, the form should not be submitted. Let's create a query. WooCart. Query type, choose post query. Post type, choose products. In the Post and Page tab, click on the database icon and select the WC Products in Cart option. And in the Pagination tab, the Offset field specifies the maximum number of items allowed for the form to be submitted. Let's create a form. Product inquiry. add some fields, and the check query result action. Select the query we've just created and add the error message. Let's test. I've added 7 unique products to the cart and will try to submit a form. The field's values don't matter, so I will just hit submit. And this is the error message. Now I will remove extra items from the cart and try again. And now my form is submitted. So it works. A little extra trick that's not related to the check query result action, but still useful if you are building an inquiry form like this. You might want to include the products the user currently has in their cart, right? For that, I added a small custom hook that retrieves the cart data and passes it into a hidden field. You can find the link to a gist in the description. Copy the code and add it to the functions PHP or using a Snippet plugin. Now, if you add a hidden field, you will see one more option called WooCommerce cart data. This field can be useful when sending an email after form submit, or you can pass it to a custom field or using some other action. But let's get back to the check query results add-on. As you can see, there are plenty of ways to use it. It all comes down to how you build your queries. The more confident you get with creating different query setups, the more possibilities you will uncover for advanced form validation. Getting values from query. The check query action add-on features a second action, get values from query. It's not about validating the form anymore, but about adding some values from the selected query on form submit. Please note that we are not discussing populating on the fly. JetFormBuilder already has very powerful built-in functionality for this, and you can find a link to a detailed guide on how to use it in the description. What I'm talking about is retrieving certain values on form submit, so they can be used in the send email action or be passed to external meta fields. Attaching company name based on email address. To illustrate how it works, I don't even have to create a new query or add new data. Let's use the event submissions data and the corresponding query we discussed earlier in this video. I will add a simple contact form with email and text area. And one hidden field, which I name Related Company. Then add the get values from query action and select the existing validate email query. We use it for the event submission CCT. This CCT contains some emails, names, and company names. What I want is to attach a company name automatically when a user submits a form. Here I choose field to store results to, related company. Choose single value toggle, and the property to get value from is for meta field name that stores the company name. I will check my CCT, and the field name is company. so I enter it here. To test how it works, I will add a send email action and include macros for the relevant fields. Save the form and test. I should use the existing email. Let's copy it, insert it into the field, and send the form. Now, if I check my email, I can see the company name here. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and join us in the next video.